Hello again, this is Lazouche Custom here. Okay, this is the Devil Gammon pistol. Now if you remember my project that I did quite a while ago now, I believe it was last year actually I did this project. I did it as best and as near to this design as I possibly could. There were a few bits about it that were different compared to this real steel picture here. Namely the cocking serrations, the guide rod plug detail, and the paddle detail on the mag ejection. Well, I had a little bit of a think how I was going to do it, and I managed to get a donor mag catch that could be used as the basis to do it, and I've done it. It actually works. What I've used is, actually let's just brighten it up here a minute. What I've used is some grippy plastic, because the real steel one, as you can see from the picture, well hopefully you can see it, is actually checkered. It's a checkered design. I don't know if it's showing up on the camera there, but it's this sort of pads here is like a checkered design as per the checkering that you get on the back strap or wherever on a standard pistol. It's a similar design. So what I've used is a sort of a rough plastic, and I've glued two sections together, drilled a hole through, drilled and tapped the magazine catch, which is a standard TM magazine catch, drilled and tapped it, then cut out the metal weights inside the plastic grip, cut the plastic grips around it as well, moulded it and shaped it to suit, drilled through, attached a screw and countersunk it. Now it's not identical to that, because the screw in that is obviously an Allen bolt screw, which I haven't got, so I've had to use whatever I had in my spares box, and I've got this, which it doesn't look too bad because it matches in with the grip screws, so I'm quite happy with that. I'm not too worried about it. As I say, it was to look like it, not identical, but as near as I possibly could, and it actually works. So that's the other thing. I'll show you the process. You just push it in, as you can see it goes all the way in. Hopefully you can see anyway. There we go, see it goes all the way in, disappears below the level of the magazine, the grips. There's a gap underneath, so you've got to allow for the actual magazine release to go into the frame, because if you don't and you have that flush with the frame, obviously you can't push it, it won't eject. So you've got to allow that little bit of sort of movement there. Now then, which obviously speaks for itself I suppose, mag goes in, it locks, it's not going to fall out, press the button and it just drops straight out. Alright, so it does work. I'll show you again, press the button and it comes out. And it's pretty good, you don't have to press it all the way in, it's exactly the same as a standard mag catch, exactly the same. All I did was took the checkering off the top of the mag catch itself, drilled and tapped for this screw. The screw was a lot longer, it was about 1 inch long, so I allowed it for that length. Then I made up this pad and everything else, and then I cut the screw down to suit, allowing for a little bit of a countersink into there, because this screw is a countersunk screw, and allowing for the full depth of the tapped and died screw thread into the magazine catch. And yeah, it works fine. So I have now got the proper sort of total design now for the Devil Gammon pistol. It is now identical as far as I can possibly make to the real steel. So there you go. I'm chuffed with this. It works very, very well. It's still got the brass, I don't know if you can see it in the, yeah, there we go. It's still got the brass hop unit that's in there. Hopefully you can see that's better. And it's also got a 9-ball hop rubber in there, but that may come out, although it seems to be working fine at the moment. This is one of the early 9-ball hop rubbers, so the collet in there is pretty good, the moulding's pretty good. This is a little warning for all you guys that are thinking of going for 9-ball hop rubbers. Now originally, and I hold my hand up to this, I've always sworn by 9-ball hop rubbers. They are excellent, they work brilliantly. They do, when they are moulded correctly. The latest 9-ball hot rubbers that I got, which was I don't know, about a month or so back, something like that, maybe a bit longer, they were poorly moulded, so be careful. If you're going to buy a new hop-up, I personally now, from this point onwards, am only using PDI hop rubbers. They're not quite as good as the 9-ball, they don't give a good as seal and they don't give you as much FPS, but accuracy wise and everything else they're brilliant. They're just, you know, they're just as good for the accuracy. It's just the power factor. You don't get quite as much power as what you would out of a 9-ball one. I'm going to do a video because I'm seeing this so many times now. As I say, I bought 2 brand spanking new ones. When I got them out of the packet, the mouldings were atrocious. So it seems to me as if 9-ball are going round the clock with old moulds, and the mouldings are wearing, and you're getting a lot of flash on the inside collet of the 9-ball hot rubber. But I'm going to do a totally separate video explaining what I mean by that. Any of you guys know what I mean out there now, you've obviously cottoned on to what I'm talking about, but a lot of you will be scratching your head going, what the hell is he talking about? Well, don't worry, because I'm going to do a video explaining the pros and cons of the recent 9-ball hot rubbers. They are not very well moulded, at least the batch that I recently purchased weren't. I, at the moment, will only be using PDI ones, so they seem to be okay. Or I'll be sticking with the standard TM ones because they're pretty good as they are out of the box. The TM hot rubbers are very, very good. You don't quite get as much power, but they're good enough. Let's put it that way. So yeah, but as I say, I'll be doing a separate video to that. But coming back to the Devil Gammon, it's worked pretty well. I did have an issue, as you can hopefully see on the camera. If I dull this down a little bit, you might be able to see it. As you can see, there's an issue there. There's a crack, or there was, in the frame. The other side was perfect, no problems at all, that side. But this side, I started to get a crack appear, so I've had to refill it and do it. I haven't bothered to strip the whole pistol again and respray it. Although it's got to be done because, as I explained in the original video, the final video of building this, I wasn't happy with the finish that I got. This was meant to be chrome. It's just turned out like Battleship Grey, really. It's rubbish. So I won't be buying those paints again. So yeah, so it's got to be resprayed eventually. But for the moment, I'm going to leave it as is. But yeah, so this had issues. It's worn well. I've had no reliability issues now. When I initially set it up, I was having problems, but it all stemmed to the guide rod and the recoil spring that was causing problems, and the inside of the barrel. They were all contributing. They were catching the inside of the barrel because of the sleeved design. The collet on the inside was too tight on the inner barrel, and it wasn't allowing it to freely sort of drop and rotate within the barrel, so it was causing jamming problems. So I've since dealt with all that, filed it out, and it works fine now. So and she does work very, very well indeed. Extremely accurate because of the extra length of the barrel. I mean, the barrel comes right to the end of the slide, as you can see, or the compensator. So yeah, the longer the barrel, the more accuracy you will achieve. And now I've got the mag catch paddle done and fitted and fixed. Yeah, she's working very well indeed. So this was a hell of a custom job when I started it. It was very, very daunting. I didn't think I'd be able to do it. I had no idea how I was going to do the finger hook on the front of the trigger guard, but it got overcome in the end and I managed to do it. This, as I say, was sort of like I just didn't know how I was going to go about doing it, but I've done it now, so I'm happy with that. But the rest of it was pretty much straightforward thinking, because I'd done a compensated design obviously with my Punisher pistol in the past and my Marked for Death pistol, the Steven Seagal pistol as well. So I knew how to do that. The extended frame I'd already done as well on my Les Baer Monolith, so that came in into its own there. So these are all ideas that I'd already crossed or come across before, so they could be used on this gun. Cutting in a bowmile was dead simple, grip safety was dead easy, bobbing the hammer was okay. The mainspring housing was slightly different because I was having, as you can see, instead of the serrations going down, they were going across, so that was a total custom job to a standard 1911A1 mainspring housing. So yeah, so there was a lot of work involved, but it's now taken shape, and she works lovely. She's really, really reliable, or seems to be, on the odd occasions that I actually get to take her out. I haven't used her at the last few games, but I will be taking her out again, hopefully throughout the rest of this summer, and just see how it goes. But she is a bit bulky, she's a bit big, a bit sort of ungainly, but she does work very well when I do use her, so yeah, I can't complain really. She's done very well. So there you are, guys. So yes, it's complete. The project is now totally done. There's nothing else to be done to this gun at all. So yeah, the Devil Gammon pistol made by Charlie Kelsey, originally, the real steel. I think there was only about 12 of them ever made. So my one in the airsoft community is going to be a total one-off. There is not one of these anywhere else in the world, as far as I know, unless Western Arms come out and make one. No doubt they'll make it slightly wrong. So yes, but but as I say, it works well. It's a daunting project, so if you are thinking of making one yourself, take heed. It's not something to be sort of taken lightly. There's a lot of work, especially doing these drill holes on the compensator. Obviously, as I said before, the trigger guard, thumb rest, whatever, on their finger rest. There are a lot of issues, and of course the magazine paddle as well. So think about it if you're going to take this project on. If you're a novice, nope, steer clear of it until you've got used to doing other odd features, because this combines the lot. So yeah, so take that on board. There is one other thing I was thinking of doing, which is, as you can see, the magazine has a metal base plate. So I'm thinking of actually spraying a base plate silver to match, and slightly grinding the rear off so that it's exactly as per the real steel. As you can see, it's slightly angled, whereas this one is flush with the back. So yeah, so I'm thinking of doing one of those. This, by the way, is a customised Wilson Combat base, so it'll just have the standard TM base on there if I go and do that. But as I say, it's all cosmetic. That's nothing that really affects the firing of the gun. Anyway, guys, there you go. The project's now totally complete. I'm happy with it. She works. One drawback was, as I say, I was a bit disappointed with the finish, but that is nothing. It's cosmetic. I'll wait until she gets really well worn, battered about, whatever, over the years or so that she will get used, or year, and then I'll strip her down and respray her. But for the moment, she's going to stay as is. So there you are. Okay, guys, this is Lazouche Custom saying stay sharp but be safe. Bye for now.